Fave says E1, stop measuring God's timing by your clocks or expanded speech. How many times have you looked at the calendar and quietly wondered, God, when is it finally going to happen? Maybe you've prayed for months. Maybe you've waited for years. You expected the breakthrough by now. You thought the opportunity would have arrived already. You believed the answer would come sooner. But instead of seeing progress, you see delays. Instead of receiving clarity, you experience silence. And if you're not careful, you begin to mistake God's silence for God's absence. But hear this today, God's timing has never been controlled by human calendars. He does not rush because we are impatient. And He does not delay because He has forgotten us. Every season has a purpose, even the seasons we don't understand. The clock on your wall measures minutes and hours, but God measures readiness, growth, wisdom, and purpose. Think about it. A farmer never plants a seed in the morning and digs it up at night, because nothing has grown. He understands that growth happens beneath the surface long before it becomes visible above the ground. In the same way, God is often doing His greatest work in places you cannot yet see. While you are focused on what hasn't happened, God is preparing everything that needs to happen before your blessing arrives. Too often, we compare our lives to everyone else's timeline. We scroll through social media and see someone buying a house, getting married, starting a business, receiving a promotion, or celebrating success. Suddenly, we begin asking ourselves, why them? Why not me? Why am I still waiting? Comparison convinces us that we are behind. But comparison only steals the peace that God wants us to have. Your journey was never designed to look like someone else's. God has written a unique story for your life, and every chapter has its own timing. Remember this. A delay is not always a denial. Sometimes what feels like a closed door is actually God's protection. There are opportunities you prayed for that would have hurt you if they had come too soon. There are relationships you wanted that would have distracted you from your purpose. There are blessings you desired before you had the strength, maturity, or wisdom to carry them. Looking back, you may one day thank God for every unanswered prayer that kept you from settling for less than His best. Waiting is difficult because it stretches our faith. Anyone can believe when everything is happening quickly. Anyone can trust when the answers come immediately. But true faith is built in the waiting. It is built on the days when nothing changes, yet you still choose to pray. It is built on the mornings when you cannot see the outcome, yet you continue to believe that God is working behind the scenes. Faith says, even if I don't understand the process, I trust the one who is leading me. Ask yourself this question. Who are you becoming while you are waiting? Because that may be the most important question of all. God is not only interested in giving you a blessing, He is interested in preparing you to keep it. Success without character can destroy a person. Opportunity without wisdom can become a burden. Influence without humility can become pride. Before God changes your circumstances, He often changes your heart. Before He opens new doors, He strengthens your foundation. Imagine receiving everything you've prayed for today. Would you be ready to handle it? Would you protect it? Would you use it wisely? Sometimes the greatest act of God's love is not giving us what we want immediately, but preparing us until we are capable of carrying it well. So stop letting the calendar determine your confidence. Stop believing that because another week has passed, another month has ended, or another year has gone by, your miracle has become less possible. Because God is not running out of time just because you feel like you are. That one moment of divine favor can accomplish what years of human effort never could. One unexpected opportunity can completely change the direction of your life. One conversation can open a door you've been knocking on for years. One breakthrough can erase seasons of disappointment. Before this month ends, don't spend your energy counting the days that are gone. Spend your energy strengthening your faith for the days that remain. Wake up each morning expecting that today could be the day everything begins to change. Continue growing, continue serving, continue believing, continue becoming the person God is calling you to be. Because when God's perfect timing meets your prepared heart, What once seemed impossible can happen faster than you ever imagined. So today, stop measuring God's faithfulness by your clock. Measure it by His promises. Trust His process. Stay patient in the waiting, and believe with confidence that the God who has carried you this far is more than able to surprise you before this month comes to an end. 2022. Keep showing up even when nothing seems to change it. Expanded speech. There is something incredibly difficult about giving your best when you cannot see any results. It is easy to stay motivated when doors are opening, opportunities are appearing, and everything seems to be moving in the right direction. But what about the days when you pray with all your heart and still hear no answer? What about the weeks when you work faithfully but nothing seems to improve? What about the moments when you wonder if anything you're doing even matters? Those are the moments that define your character. Anyone can stay committed when success comes quickly. Anyone can believe when the evidence is right in front of them. But the people who experience extraordinary breakthroughs are often the ones who refuse to stop showing up long before anyone else notices their progress. They understand that consistency is not built on feelings, it is built on conviction. Think about a seed that has just been planted. The moment it is placed into the soil, nothing appears to happen. If you looked at the ground every day, you might think the seed had failed. You might assume nothing is growing because nothing is visible. But beneath the surface, something remarkable is taking place. Roots are stretching deeper into the earth. The foundation is becoming stronger. Life is developing in complete silence. Your life often works the same way. Just because you cannot see visible progress does not mean God is not working. Just because the breakthrough has not arrived does not mean your prayers have been ignored. Some of God's greatest work happens where human eyes cannot see. While you are focused on the surface, God is strengthening your roots. He is building your faith, shaping your character, and preparing you for responsibilities that are bigger than your current season. Too many people quit because they confuse silence with failure. They assume that if nothing has changed yet, nothing ever will. They stop praying. They stop believing. They stop trying. And sadly, many people walk away just before the very breakthrough they have been waiting for. Imagine climbing a mountain covered in thick fog. You cannot see the summit. You cannot even see how close you are to the top. Every step feels the same as the last one. You become tired. You wonder if you're making any progress at all. But just because you cannot see the destination doesn't mean you are standing still. Every step forward is bringing you closer, even when your eyes cannot measure the distance. Faith often feels exactly like that. You keep walking even when you cannot see the finish line. You keep trusting even when your emotions tell you to give up. You keep believing because your confidence is not based on what you see. It is based on who God is. Remember, every great success story includes a season that nobody applauded. Before the victory, there were countless ordinary days filled with discipline, patience, and quiet faithfulness. Before the promotion, there were years of unnoticed hard work. Before the harvest, there was a long season of planting and watering. Before the miracle became visible, there was a period where nothing appeared to be happening. Don't underestimate the power of ordinary days. Sometimes we spend so much time waiting for one dramatic moment that we overlook the small victories God gives us every day. Every lesson you learn, every temptation you overcome, every act of kindness you choose, every prayer you pray, and every time you refuse to quit is another step toward the future God is preparing for you. There will be mornings when motivation is gone. There will be evenings when disappointment whispers that your efforts are pointless. On those days, do not depend on motivation. Depend on commitment. Commitment will carry you farther than emotions ever can. Tell yourself, I will keep showing up. I will keep praying. Even when I don't yet see the answer. I will keep working, even when no one notices. I will keep growing, even when the progress feels slow. I will keep believing, even when my circumstances haven't changed. Because I know that faithfulness today is preparing me for favor tomorrow. Never forget that God is not only watching the moments when you celebrate victory. He is also watching the quiet mornings when you choose faith over fear. He sees the tears you wipe away before anyone notices. He sees the prayers you whisper when no one else is listening. He sees every act of obedience, every sacrifice, every moment you refuse to give up, and nothing done in faith is ever wasted. One day, what feels invisible today will become undeniable. The roots you have been growing in secret will produce fruit for everyone to see. The prayers you thought were unanswered will reveal themselves as perfectly timed. The waiting season will become your testimony. So before this month ends, don't lose heart because nothing seems to be changing. Keep showing up with hope. Keep walking in faith. Keep trusting God's process. Keep believing His promises even when you cannot yet see the outcome. Because breakthroughs rarely announce themselves before they arrive. They often come after a long season of quiet perseverance. And when the moment finally comes, you will realize that every prayer, every act of faith, every day you refused to quit, and every step you took in obedience was leading you to this very moment. So don't stop now. Keep showing up, keep believing, keep trusting. Because the God who began a good work in your life is faithful to finish what He started. And your greatest surprise may be closer than you think. Asifavrinsbury 3. Release what has been holding you back as expanded speech. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must make a decision that changes everything. It is not always the decision to work harder, dream bigger, or chase another opportunity. Sometimes, the most powerful decision you can make is the decision to let go. Because here's the truth. God cannot fill hands that refuse to release what they are already holding on to. Many people pray for a new season while clinging tightly to the pain of the old one. They ask for peace but continue feeding anxiety. They ask for freedom while refusing to forgive. They ask God to open new doors. Yet they keep standing in front of doors that He has already closed. The greatest obstacle to your future may not be what is ahead of you. It may be what you are still carrying behind you. Think about how much energy it takes to carry unnecessary weight. Imagine running a race with a heavy backpack filled with stones. Every step becomes more difficult. Every hill feels steeper. Every mile feels longer. The problem isn't that you're weak. The problem is that you're carrying something you were never meant to carry. Many of us do the same thing emotionally and spiritually. We carry yesterday's failures. We carry regret over mistakes we cannot change. We carry words spoken over us years ago. We carry disappointments that still influence our confidence. We carry fear because life didn't go the way we expected. And without realizing it, those burdens begin to shape how we see ourselves and how we see our future. But God never intended for your past to become your permanent identity. One mistake does not define your future. One disappointment does not cancel God's purpose. One closed door does not mean every door will remain closed. The enemy wants you to believe that because something happened before, it will always happen again. He wants fear to become your expectation. He wants disappointment to become your normal. But faith says something different. Faith says, my past is a lesson, not my destination. One of the hardest things to release is unforgiveness. When someone hurts us deeply, holding on to anger can feel justified. We replay the conversation. We remember the betrayal. We think about what should have happened differently. We wait for an apology that may never come. But while we are holding on to bitterness, bitterness is quietly holding on to us. Forgiveness does not mean what happened was acceptable. It does not mean you erase the memory or ignore the pain. Forgiveness means you refuse to allow someone else's actions to control your future. It means you trust God with justice instead of allowing resentment to steal your peace. Forgiveness is not setting someone else free. It is setting your own heart free. Sometimes what you need to release isn't another person. Sometimes it's fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of being disappointed again. Fear whispers, don't try. You only get hurt. First, faith answers. Even if I don't know what tomorrow holds, I know who holds tomorrow. So fear builds prisons. Faith opens doors. Ask yourself honestly today, what have I been carrying that God never asked me to carry? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it disappointment? Is it comparison? Is it the need to control every outcome? Whatever it is, it has become too heavy. God is inviting you to lay it down, because every new season requires an open heart. You cannot fully embrace tomorrow while constantly looking over your shoulder at yesterday. Sometimes we spend so much time mourning what we lost that we fail to notice what God is placing in front of us. Remember the seasons that didn't work out, the opportunities you missed, the prayers that seemed unanswered. Looking back now, some of those disappointments protected you from places you never belonged. Some closed doors were actually acts of God's mercy. Some delays were preparing you for something far greater than what you originally wanted. What felt like rejection was often redirection. What looked like an ending was actually the beginning of a better story. So, stop defining your future by your previous experiences. Don't allow yesterday's pain to become tomorrow's expectation. God is doing something new, but you must be willing to make room for it. Before this month ends, choose to release every burden that has been slowing your spiritual journey. Release the guilt that keeps reminding you of who you used to be. Release the fear that tells you nothing will ever change. Release the disappointment that has stolen your joy. Release the need to have every answer before taking the next step. Trust that God can carry what you cannot. Trust that His plans are greater than your understanding. Trust that every burden you place in His hands becomes lighter than any burden you try to carry alone. Imagine how different your life could become if you stopped living from the weight of your past and started living from the hope of God's promises. That is where freedom begins. That is where peace grows. That is where faith becomes stronger than fear. And perhaps, before this month comes to an end, the greatest surprise God gives you will not simply be a changed circumstance. It will be a changed heart. A heart no longer trapped by regret. A heart no longer chained to fear. A heart fully open to receive everything God has been preparing for you. So today, make the courageous decision to let go. Release what has been holding you back. Walk away from the weight that no longer belongs to you. Because when you finally surrender what has been keeping you stuck, you create room for God to lead you into the future He has planned all along. Don of van F. the Fall. Expect good things without living in fear. Os. Expanded speech. How many opportunities have been missed because fear spoke louder than faith? How many dreams have been abandoned before they even had the chance to grow? How many people spend every single day expecting something to go wrong instead of believing that something wonderful could happen? The truth is, many of us have become experts at preparing for disappointment. We prepare ourselves for rejection before we even apply. We expect failure before we even begin. We imagine the worst possible outcome long before anything has actually happened. And after enough painful experiences, that way of thinking can start to feel normal. Perhaps you've prayed for something before and didn't receive the answer you expected. Maybe someone broke your trust. Maybe life didn't unfold the way you planned. Slowly, without even realizing it, fear became your default response. Instead of waking up with hope, you woke up with hesitation. Instead of asking, what amazing thing could happen today? You began asking, what if everything goes wrong? But that is not the life God calls us to live. God never intended for fear to become the voice that directs your future. Fear is a terrible leader because it always points you toward the safest path, not necessarily the right one. It tells you to stay comfortable. It tells you not to risk, not to trust, not to hope too much, because if you expect less, maybe you won't get hurt as badly. But living that way slowly steals your joy. When fear controls your thinking, you stop celebrating possibilities because you're too busy imagining problems that don't even exist. You begin fighting battles that haven't happened. You carry anxiety about tomorrow while missing the blessings God has placed in today. Jesus repeatedly encouraged people with the words, do not be afraid. Not because challenges would disappear, but because God's presence is greater than every challenge you will ever face. Think about this for a moment. What if your next opportunity is only one decision away? What if your breakthrough is closer than you realize? What if the prayer you've been praying for months is already moving toward its answer? Would fear allow you to recognize it? Or would fear convince you to stay where you are because it's familiar? Faith sees possibilities where fear only sees obstacles. Fear focuses on everything that could go wrong. Faith focuses on the God who can make things right. That doesn't mean pretending life is easy. It doesn't mean ignoring reality or acting as though difficulties don't exist. Faith is not blind optimism. Faith is confidence that even when life becomes difficult, God remains faithful. You don't have to know every detail of tomorrow to walk confidently today. Imagine driving through the night with your car headlights on. The lights don't illuminate the entire road from beginning to end. They only show the next part of the journey. Yet that's enough to keep moving forward. God often works the same way. He may not reveal every answer all at once. He may not explain every delay. He may not show you the entire picture, but he always provides enough light for the next step. Fear demands certainty before moving. Faith moves forward with trust, even when certainty hasn't arrived. Another reason people struggle to expect good things is because they believe their past predicts their future. If they experienced rejection once, if they expect rejection again, if they experienced loss once, they prepare for another loss. If they experienced failure once, they assume they will always fail. But your history does not have the authority to rewrite God's promises. One difficult season does not mean every season will be difficult. One disappointment does not cancel your destiny. One setback does not erase your purpose. God specializes in bringing hope into hopeless situations. He opens doors no one else can open. He creates opportunities where others see impossibilities. He restores what people believed was permanently lost. That is why expectation matters. Expectation changes the way you live. When you expect good things, you notice opportunities instead of obstacles. You encourage others instead of competing with them. You wake up with gratitude instead of anxiety. You walk through life with confidence because you know your future is in God's hands, not in your fears. Imagine beginning every morning by saying, "Today could be the day God answers a prayer. Dos. Today could be the day a new opportunity appears. Dos. Today could be the day everything begins to change. Sex." That kind of expectation doesn't create disappointment. It strengthens hope. It reminds your heart that God is still working, even when nothing appears different. So before this month ends, stop expecting disaster before it arrives. Stop allowing fear to write stories that God never wrote. Stop letting yesterday's disappointments determine tomorrow's expectations. Instead, choose faith, choose hope, choose courage. Believe that God is able to do far more than you can currently imagine. Believe that one unexpected phone call, one meaningful conversation, one open door, one answered prayer, or one ordinary day can completely transform the direction of your life. Because throughout history, God has often surprised people when they least expected it. And perhaps He is preparing to do the same for you. So walk into each new day with confidence instead of anxiety. Lift your head instead of lowering your expectations. Trust God's promises more than your fears. Keep your heart open to His blessings, your mind focused on His faithfulness, and your spirit filled with hope. Because when you stop living in fear and start expecting God's goodness, you position yourself to recognize the miracles, opportunities, and blessings He has been preparing all along. Before this month comes to an end, don't just wait for something good to happen. Live each day believing that God's best is still ahead of you. Dost for 5. Become the person ready for the blessing, or expanded speech. One of the biggest mistakes we make is believing that the greatest miracle is the blessing itself. We spend so much time praying for the opportunity, the promotion, the breakthrough, the relationship, the financial increase, or the open door that we forget something incredibly important. God's God is often more concerned with preparing the person than providing the blessing. Because a blessing received before you are ready can become a burden instead of a gift. Think about it. What good is success if you don't have the wisdom to manage it? What good is influence if you lack the character to handle it? What good is an answered prayer if you're not spiritually and emotionally prepared to sustain what you've been given? God doesn't simply want to bless your life. He wants to prepare your life for the blessing. That is why waiting seasons are never wasted seasons. Many people see waiting as an interruption, but God sees it as a classroom. While you are asking, when will my breakthrough come? God may be asking, are you becoming the person who can carry it? Those are two very different questions. Imagine someone asking God for a leadership position, but refusing to become responsible in the small things. Or praying for financial abundance, while continuing to manage their current resources carelessly. Or asking for a healthy relationship while refusing to grow in patience, kindness, forgiveness, and self-control. God's blessings often require a foundation strong enough to support them. No wise builder places the roof on a house before the foundation is complete. Likewise, God often strengthens your character before He expands your opportunities. This is why your current season matters so much. Don't waste today wishing for tomorrow. Use today to become stronger. Use today to become wiser. Use today to become more faithful. Use today to become more disciplined. Every ordinary day is an opportunity to prepare for an extraordinary future. Sometimes we imagine preparation as something dramatic, but more often than not, preparation happens through small, faithful decisions repeated consistently over time. It happens when you choose integrity, even when no one is watching. It happens when you remain kind after being treated unfairly. It happens when you continue praying after weeks of silence. It happens when you stay disciplined even without immediate results. It happens when you keep your word, even when it's inconvenient. Character isn't built in one extraordinary moment. Character is built through thousands of ordinary moments where you choose what is right over what is easy. And those choices matter more than you realize. Because the person you are becoming today is the person who will walk through tomorrow's open doors. Ask yourself honestly, if God answered every prayer I've been praying today, would I truly be ready? Would I remain humble after success? Would I remain generous after prosperity? Would I remain faithful after receiving everything I've asked for? Would I continue depending on God? Or would I begin depending on myself? These are important questions because blessings have a way of revealing what's already inside our hearts. If humility is growing inside you now, success will not steal it later. If gratitude is growing inside you now, abundance will not replace it with pride. If faith is growing inside you now, challenges in your next season will not easily shake you. That is why personal growth is never separate from God's purpose. They are connected. Every lesson you're learning, every challenge you're overcoming, every habit you're building, every act of obedience, every moment of patience, God is using all of it to prepare you for something greater than you can currently imagine. Don't underestimate the importance of hidden seasons. A tree spends years developing deep roots before it reaches its full height. Those roots aren't visible. People walking past may think nothing important is happening, but when storms arrive, the tree that invested in deep roots remains standing. God wants to build deep roots in your life. Roots of faith that remain steady during uncertainty. Roots of humility that remain grounded during success. Roots of wisdom that guide every decision. Roots of integrity that cannot be shaken by pressure, because blessings are easier to receive than they are to steward. God isn't interested in giving you something that will eventually destroy you. He wants to give you something that will strengthen your purpose and allow you to become a blessing to others. So instead of constantly asking, God, when will you change my circumstances? Try asking, God, what are you changing in me? That one question can completely transform your perspective. Suddenly, every challenge becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes preparation. Every disappointment becomes an opportunity to grow. Every ordinary day becomes part of God's extraordinary plan. Before this month comes to an end, make a decision that no matter what happens around you, you will continue becoming the person God has called you to be. Become more patient than you were yesterday. Become more faithful than you were last week. Become more disciplined than you were last month. Become more grateful than you have ever been before. Because while you're waiting for God to prepare your blessing, God may already be preparing your blessing. And when preparation meets God's perfect timing, incredible things happen. The doors that once seemed impossible begin to open. The opportunities you've prayed for begin to appear. The strength you've been developing quietly becomes visible to everyone around you. The blessing arrives, not as something that overwhelms you, but as something you are finally ready to carry with wisdom, humility, and purpose. So don't spend this season only asking God to change your situation. Ask Him to transform your heart. Become the person who is ready for the blessing before it arrives. Because when your character is prepared, your faith is mature, and your heart is aligned with God's purpose, you won't just receive the blessing. You'll be ready to honor God with it, protect it, and use it to bless the lives of others. Philippians 6. Receive the surprise with gratitude and trust. Expanded speech. There is something remarkable about the way God works. Many times, the blessing you've been praying for doesn't arrive with a warning. It doesn't send you a message saying, "Get ready. Your breakthrough is coming tomorrow." Instead, God often chooses the ordinary moments to reveal His extraordinary plans. One phone call, one unexpected opportunity, one conversation, one answered prayer, one open door. In a single moment, everything can begin to change. That's why you should never underestimate what God can do before this month comes to an end. But here's something just as important as receiving the blessings: knowing how to receive it. Many people spend years praying for a miracle, yet when it finally arrives, they become so focused on the gift that they forget the one who gave it. The greatest blessing is never just the breakthrough itself. The greatest blessing is discovering that God has been faithful every step of the journey. When your prayers are answered, don't rush past the moment. Pause. Reflect. Remember every season that brought you here. Remember the prayers you whispered through tears. Remember the nights when you questioned whether anything would ever change. Remember the days when all you had was faith. Those difficult seasons were not meaningless. They shaped you. They strengthened you. They taught you how to depend on God instead of depending only on your own understanding. Without those seasons, you might never have become the person you are today. Gratitude changes everything. It reminds you that every opportunity is a gift. Every new beginning is an act of grace. Every open door is a reminder of God's faithfulness. Grateful people don't become proud because they remember where they came from. They remember the waiting. They remember the uncertainty. They remember the moments when hope was all they had left. And because they remember, they remain humble. Humility is one of the greatest qualities you can carry into a season of blessing. Success has a way of testing the heart. When life becomes easier, it becomes tempting to believe that everything happened because of our own strength. But true wisdom recognizes that every ability, every opportunity, every breakthrough, and every victory ultimately comes from God. Humility keeps your heart connected to the one who opened the door. The blessing should never replace the relationship. Never become so excited about God's gifts that you stop pursuing God's presence. Because the greatest miracle isn't what God places in your hands. The greatest miracle is knowing that He walks beside you every step of the way. Another beautiful response to God's blessings is generosity. God rarely blesses people so that the blessing ends with them. He blesses them so they can become a blessing to others. When God gives you peace, share peace. When He gives you wisdom, encourage someone else. When He opens doors for you, help someone else walk through theirs. When He comforts you, become a source of comfort for those who are hurting. Blessings multiply when they are shared. Imagine how different the world would be if everyone who received kindness chose to give kindness. If everyone who received hope became a messenger of hope. If everyone who experienced God's faithfulness helped someone else trust Him too. That is how lives are transformed. Remember this as well, not every blessing will look the way you expected. Sometimes God answers your prayers differently than you imagined. Sometimes He gives you something better than what you originally asked for. Sometimes He changes your heart before He changes your circumstances. Sometimes the greatest surprise isn't a financial breakthrough or a new opportunity. Sometimes the greatest surprise is waking up with peace after months of anxiety. Sometimes it's finding joy after a painful season. Sometimes it's discovering strength you never knew you had. Never limit God's miracles to only what you can imagine. His plans are always greater than your expectations. As you approach the end of this month, don't live with fear. Live with expectation. Wake up each morning believing that God is still working. Go to sleep each night thanking Him for what He has already done. Walk through every day with confidence, knowing that your future is safely held in His hands. Whether the surprise comes today, tomorrow, or on the very last day of the month, trust that God's timing is perfect. His delays are never wasted. His promises never fail. His love never changes. And His plans for your life are greater than anything fear could ever imagine. So don't allow doubt to have the final word. Don't let disappointment define your future. Keep your heart open. Keep your faith alive. Keep your spirit full of hope, because you never know which ordinary day God has chosen to become the extraordinary day that changes everything. And when that moment comes, receive it with a grateful heart. Celebrate without pride. Rejoice without forgetting where your strength comes from. Use every blessing to honor God and to serve others with love, humility, and compassion. Before this month comes to an end, your story could take a turn you never expected. The prayer you've whispered in secret may become a testimony you share with joy. The waiting season may become a season of celebration. So stand with confidence, trust God's perfect timing, receive every blessing with gratitude, and never stop believing that the God who has carried you this far is preparing something far greater than you can see. Your surprise may be closer than you think, and when it arrives, let your first response be gratitude, your second response be trust, and your lifelong response be faithful obedience. Toxer's final closing speech. As we come to the end of this message, I want to leave you with one simple truth. Never underestimate what God can do in a single moment. As you may have started this month feeling discouraged, uncertain, or tired of waiting. You may have wondered if your prayers were being heard or if your breakthrough would ever come. But remember this: God is never late. He is always working with perfect timing, even when you cannot see it, Toxer. So don't spend the remaining days of this month focused on what hasn't happened. Instead, focus on who you are becoming. Keep praying with confidence. Keep walking by faith. Keep serving with a grateful heart. Keep believing, even when the evidence hasn't appeared yet. Release every fear that tells you nothing will change. Let go of every disappointment that tries to steal your hope. Refuse to compare your journey with anyone else's. Trust that the God who began a good work in your life is faithful to complete it. Walk into every new day with expectation. Wake up believing that today could be the day an unexpected opportunity appears. Today could be the day a prayer is answered. Today could be the day a closed door opens. Today could be the day God surprises you in a way you never imagined. And if the blessing doesn't arrive exactly when you expected, don't lose heart. Keep trusting. Keep growing. Keep preparing. Because every day you remain faithful is another day God is shaping you for something greater than you can see. Before this month ends, may your faith become stronger than your fear. May your hope become greater than your doubts. May your heart remain filled with peace, gratitude, and unwavering trust in God's promises. Always remember this: God is still working. God is still faithful. God is still opening doors. God is still making a way where there seems to be no way. So keep your head high, keep your eyes on Him, and keep moving forward with confidence. Your story isn't over. Your breakthrough isn't impossible. Your prayers have not been forgotten. Seconds before this month ends, God can do more in one moment than you could accomplish in years of striving. Stay faithful, stay expectant, and get ready, because your surprise may be closer than you think. May God bless you, strengthen you, and fill your heart with hope. Thank you, and God bless you all.